When you're picturing quantum computers, you're probably picturing something like this. But did you know that just turning a quantum computer on can take weeks?
That whole process of taking a chip and plugging it into a power source and trapping those electrons, right now it takes people weeks to do. I did it during the first few weeks of my PhD and I said never again.
This is Brandon Severin, CEO and co-founder of Conductor Quanta. They are building one of the first operating systems for quantum computers. Here's what's wild. Think about how your phone or laptop needs an operating system like Windows or iOS in order to work. Before that was a reality, our computers looked a little bit like this. You needed to be a literal rocket scientist in order to operate them properly. We are kind of at the same stage with quantum computers. We see all magical pictures of them, but nobody actually shows us how to interact with them. And the reason why that is because quantum computers are just a little bit more complicated. You've probably heard this before, but stick with me. Classical computers use bits or zeros and ones in order to solve problems. And quantum computers use qubits, which can be 0, 1, or any single state in between them. Bear with me for a second. But in order to stabilize those qubits and measure what they're giving off accurately, you need to be stabilizing literal tiny little singular electrons and making sure that they stay still.
That's like the process of analyzing this data that, let's say you get a chip from that you make in a clean room, people are looking at their chips manually. So they're measuring it manually, plugging in voltages and looking on the screen and classifying, saying, oh, is this a good chip? Is this a bad one? And that all takes time. And so having even just this basic automatic characterization tool that we've built is super helpful, because all of a sudden you can measure as quick as your computer can send instructions rather than a quantum engineer sitting there and looking at, images on the screen.
So in a very basic way, us interacting with a quantum computer makes us be able to build better chips for quantum computers, which makes better quantum computers, which makes us make better calculations using quantum computers, which makes the quantum chips better, if that makes any sense. Conductor Quantum is bringing quantum computers into our hands so that you don't need a PhD in physics in order to operate one, and we can just accelerate this entire process much faster. The quantum world is utterly fascinating, and Brandon and I had a much longer chat about all kinds of interesting things, so make sure to check it out.